let yourself fully, deeply grieve. My therapist taught me, let it come over you like a contraction when you're giving birth. Like,
boundaries is control over yourself.
I am getting into the gym. I'm going to the gym for 3 hours.
If you are more than five minutes late, the meeting is cancelled.
I am your rock. I set the standard for our family, but you just walked around and looked at your phone.
Yeah, one of the part of divorce that a lot of people underestimate in terms of energy and in terms of mental load and all of that is the grief part of divorce. Because that you're the one divorcing or the one who is divorced, you have grief on both sides.
Yeah.
Because you're removing a part of your life that had at some point, good point, otherwise you would not have started that part of your life. And so you know that you're losing people, you're losing things, you're removing things from your life. And as much as you know that you're removing toxicity, the grief part is there.
I think that it's so crucial to do two things. One, not gaslight yourself and acknowledge that grief. Acknowledge it. And as a part of that, I always talk about micro grieving. So just like the chunk taking off little things, let yourself fully, deeply grieve. My therapist taught me, let it come over you like a contraction when you're giving birth. Like, those only last 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Let yourself fully, deeply grieve. Oh my God, I'm not going to be with one partner my whole life. I'm not going to get to be with my children for half of their life or however it splits out for you. I'm losing this, right? Let yourself really, truly feel that. But then two, you have got to change your narrative. You cannot, and I see people do this all the time, you cannot live in the narrative of, now I will never be someone who's married for 50 years. Or now I hear a lot of people say, especially early on, I'm losing 50% of my time with my kids. I'm losing 50% of their childhood. No, you are not. You are being more present for the amount of time that you have with them. And those moments will be so much better than the 100% of time you had before. You've got to reframe everything. You cannot keep living in that negative of loss or that narrative of loss.
Yeah, I think that's an important point is mindset. And, how mindset impact your personal freedom and everything that you do, basically.
I love that you said that. Mindset impacts your personal freedom, right? And you have control over your mindset.
Yeah, you cannot control much, but that mindset is something that you can control, harness, shape, and I've so 2020, my divorce started and missed COVID, lost my father at that point of time, so on and so on and so on. The only way someone can survive to adversity and to this kind of things is having the right mindset. You cannot, you cannot do anything without a proper mindset.
Right. And no one can
as you said,
peace, that mindset.
Yeah. As you said, peace is part of your mindset. Like, if you want to be in peace, you have to have the right mindset for that. You have to be aware of what is. Yeah, I had a discussion about that yesterday. It was interesting. Minimalism in your life is actually not about having nothing. It's about removing the thing that actually impacts it negatively. And that can mean people, that can mean your job, changing your job, that can be your location, that can be your personal habits, that can be your mindset, it can be anything that is actually negative for you. But minimalism is about removing it. completely.
Right. And sometimes you can't remove it. Like, let's say you have a hard boss or something that's just, it's going to be in your life. So what can you do? Let's say with a boss, you can say, I'm proud of my work. I am in alignment with how I show up. I am proud of my work. And so one person's opinion of me or how they're interacting with me, I'm not going to lower down to that vibration. So that's how I remove that for me, right?
That's a good way of doing it when you have no choice.
Because, for example, everything out. Like, have you heard it say a boundary is not telling you what you can't do, but a boundary is me saying what I am going to do, right? I am going to act this way. I am going to show up this way. I'm not going to tell you, you can't do this to me. I'm instantly giving you power and giving away mine.
Exactly. Boundaries, and I don't know where I saw that one, but I really loved it, is boundaries is control over yourself.
Yes. Yes.
It is not control over others.
I'm so happy that we are talking about this and that more and more people are talking about this, because the old way of boundaries, like just cutting people out of our lives, saying, I don't want you, I don't want you, I don't want. That is, as the middle schoolers over here in the US would say, so mid. The slang, it's like, that's so mid, right? I was saying, it'll kill me if you ever knew I was saying that. But we are way better than that, and we can do better. As Maya Angelou tells us, right? We know better now. We can do better. We are no longer just Xing everyone out, even ex-partners, right? We are saying, this is how I will act. And, I'm not cutting you off. We have to raise children together, but I am going to be 100% in charge of how I comport myself. And I'm not going to react to how you comport yourself. I'm over here. I am in control of how I act.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. So one of the things that how I see boundaries, and this is personal also, is when I put boundaries to people, it's like, this is how I will react if you do this.
Huh.
If you do it, that's your choice. But you already know how I will react to it. That's a fair play. You're like, I'm announcing you exactly what will happen if you do something.
Yeah.
This is not about you doing it or not. I'm not telling you don't do it. I'm just telling you, if you do it, this is what happens.
Yeah.
And for me, that's fair play, because you are announcing yourself. You're saying, this is me. You is you, me is me. What you're doing, I will react to it. How I will react, this is me. What you do, this is you.
And I think that especially, I just instantly think of parenting when you said that, and what a secure way you're setting up your relationship with your children. Like you're giving them clarity and comfort, right? That's a comforting way of creating a boundary. It's not a punitive way. You will go away. You're X'd out if you do this. It's, you know what to expect from me. I am your rock. I set the standard for our family, and you can feel secure. And ultimately, kids especially, right, they thrive under that. And we all do, right? Expect you to show up on time. If you don't get to this podcast in 5 minutes, you're X'd out, right? Like if you're 5 minutes late, we don't do it. It's good to know we're respecting everyone's time.
Yeah. So I used to be a executive in IT companies for many, many years. And I loved my teams. I was pretty loved by my teams, but I had one rule that everyone knew. First thing is, if you want to make a meeting for me, you need to have an agenda. You need to tell me why we are meeting. The second one is, you are more than 5 minutes late, the meeting is cancelled. The two reasons for that was, the first reason is disrespect everyone's times. We don't meet if we have no reason to meet. You have work, I have work. We have a limited amount of time. Let's focus on what's important. The second one is accountability. You are accountable for your choice. You made that meeting. You want a meeting with me. If you're not coming, that's yours, not my responsibility. So I started with that. And it worked really, really well because people feel there was value in that. Because there is a big, meeting culture where everyone is putting a meeting for everything for all the time. And most of the time you're like, why did you send me an email? That would have been faster. Or tell me on Slack and stuff. Yeah. And so people felt more valued because they were like, okay, he's respecting his time. He's respecting my time. And, he's putting value to that meeting. If not, he will not do that.
Right.
And so putting boundaries as also making the people and kids, but also partners in my marriage, I can tell you, we have some boundaries. Like, this is the way. If you behave that way, if you say these things, you know that I will not like it. And she will never do it because she knows that would hurt me and that will not be something that I like. But this also feel the people, as you say, safe, secure, but respected. Right. And children, a lot of the parenting that I see not working is where the children are not respected as proper human beings.
Yeah, you're adding rules instead of providing agency. And then it's just feeling like, even if the thing I really try not to do as a parent as well is make it so that if they're doing everything right and good, then nothing is said. But then the minute they mess up or something happens, there's a conflict, then they get in trouble. And it's like, well, I don't get seen for any of the good I do. You're only highlighting when I'm doing bad. So it's like, how, when we set our expectations and shift, like you're talking about, shift a little differently into, we all know everyone's expectations here. I know what I expect of you. You know what you expect of me, right? And we all can rise up together and feel good about what we're doing rather than, oh no, am I going to get in trouble?
Yeah, I think in terms of parenting, and this is a really important topic, for a divorced father when you have your son, as I have. When you look at parenting, and people think traditional parenting was, hard and stuff. And there was like, you were punished if you don't do things, but if I looked at my great-grandparents and all of that, there were people that were really, really fair. You would work for something, you will get rewarded. You will do something bad, you will get punished. There was clear good things and bad things. But at one point in time, I've seen the parenting was like, oh, you can't punish your children, but also people forgot to reward the children. It's like, there was this leniency that, and we see the big problem in France in school and my age and people were a bit very younger, like the way children were like kind of abandoned in a certain way by the parents, and that was the school that should take on the role. And I don't know what happened exactly and how this happened, but I felt that people treated children as something coming in their life that they have ownership of, and not as a human being that they have care of.
I think that in a way, one of those mindset shifts and the gifts of divorce is realizing at whatever age your children are when you separate. My kids were 4 and 7. And I remember feeling like, this is too soon. I was should have gotten all this time with them until they were 18. They're mine. They were mine until 18. And divorce, the gift of the divorce was me being forced to let go and see the reality of the situation, which is they were never mine. I am here to love and guide and steward them. Now I have a different structure of time. I don't say I have less time. I have a different structure of time with my children. And what I do at that time is the same. I steward them. I provide an environment where they can learn and grow, not cling to until they leave and then fill a void and you don't know what to do with your life, whatever. No, we're here just to steward. And that, I think that that's one of those gifts of divorce that we don't talk about it like this. And that's part of what I'm doing. And we're changing the narrative. Our society is doing this right now. We're changing the narrative, and we're learning through this recalibration, through more aligned separations, maybe not aligned with your partner, but more aligned with yourself, so that we can be more elevated in our parenting, in the next partner that we have. We're doing it better, right? We're learning from what we went through, and we're being better. It's exciting.
Yeah. One of the things that Jay Shetty taught me was children, they don't really care about your time. They don't really care about that. What they care is about your focus. So if you focus more on them through a shorter period of time, it has much more impact than if you don't really focus on them and just have them a higher period of time.
Want to know a funny analogy for that? Like, what if you said, New Year, I am getting into the gym. I'm going to the gym for 3 hours every day. I am doing it. But you just walked around and looked at your phone while you're in the gym. Are you going to lose weight? Are you going to tone up? Absolutely not. But what if you went in and spent 30 minutes, HIIT workout, lifting weights, doing 5 minutes of sprinting, right? Oh my gosh, your body's going to transform. Same thing with our children, right? I'm just around them. I'm in the vicinity of them, right? But you're not actually engaging. You're not lifting the weights. So, it kind of kicks your butt. It really, in this day and age when we all have a lot going on, we work from home, we have things happening all the time. It's like, okay, stop. What do you actually care about? And align your time with that.
I definitely agree with that. And being in that position, I know exactly what you're speaking about. When I have my son, this is his weekend. This is his time with me. It's like what he wants to do, that's what we're going to do. Yeah. We're planning stuff. We're playing. Like he became addicted to Uno now. He loves playing Uno. So we do we play maybe 20, 30 games a weekend because he loves it so much. But for him, that will always stay a memory where he knows he has our time and our focus when he's playing that and he's enjoying it and he's winning and he's losing and he's winning, he's losing, he's frustrated, he's happy. And that for a child is priceless in his development. Much more than you being on the couch with him next to you 5 days a week where you're on your phone or working while, he is doing what he's doing.
Now, do you let him win or do you go as hard as you can?
I never let him win. I don't. I believe, and this is a belief that my father ingrained into me because he taught me poker a bit, and my grandmother also taught me that when I was a kid by playing card with me. If you let people win, and kids, then they do not know how to handle frustration of losing.
100%, yes.
And that's a life skill. You need to be handled. If you don't know how to handle frustration, you cannot live the life properly because, let's say you become a business owner. You're frustrated, you're stressed, you have winnings, losing. It's hard pass. If you're not able to manage that properly, what will you manage in your life?
Right. Well, go ahead.
And he's much more proud when he wins by himself than when actually you make him win. Even if he doesn't know, he can feel it in a certain way.
Yeah, he's more proud. He knows he achieved that. And that's so true. It seems silly, but we play a lot of cards in our house too. And there's such a great teacher for life, because you ask any adult, you ask any guest of yours, you talk to any friend of yours, and you say, hey, just tell me the thing that you learned the most from in life, or like, tell me the thing you're most proud of, right? Almost all of us are going to talk about a very hard thing that we went through and that we overcame, whether it's going to med school or successfully going through your divorce and staying with your integrity, or raising children, whatever it is. You're not gonna say, you know what, I'm so proud of how I was handed this trust fund, right? Usually you're pretty kind of a little out of whack if you just have this handed to you, or whatever. You're not like so proud. You're not going to cite that as this crown jewel of your life, right? You're going to say, what was a hard thing I got through?
Yeah, I think that's true. And the more freedom I gain in my life, and the more awareness about myself, and basically the moment of growth that has a bigger, have always been the hardest one. And I have a small story, a bit weird story in a certain way, but when I was a kid, I was in like a kid camp in the mountain. I was 13, 14 years old, something like this. And there was this big house where we were all there, all the kids. We were maybe 30, 40 kids, I don't know. I don't remember exactly. And then there was a garden with a big stone, and behind it a small wood cabin. And we would sneak out at night, all the kids, and go to the cabin without the teachers and everyone knowing. One night, I actually run through the night, go to that cabin, but I felt on that big rock. I felt really, really bad. Boom, on the rock. On my arm first and thing. Enter the cabin. Hear everyone screaming. I'm like, what happened? I actually opened my arm from here to here. Like, to the bone.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah. Oh shit. Oh, that hurt now. And I was like, okay, that hurts. And then we go to the teacher, and they're like, oh yeah, well, we won't bring you to the doctor. You don't seem to need the doctor and everything. They gave me one of those bandages and a cream. I'm like, are you crazy? You want me to put cream in an open wound? Like, yeah. I'm like, no. Remind you, I was 13, 14. And I was like, no. And then I go to the bathroom, and in my poche, I had a perfume called Eau de Menton. And Eau de Menton is a really unique perfume because it comes from a city in France called Menton. And they do it only with two components, lemon and alcohol. So it's alcohol 90 degrees plus lemon. For the rest of that 1 week, 4 or 5 days, I disinfected every day with that. Put the Band-Aid 2 times a day, like the bandage and everything. I didn't add any suture points. You can still see the mark here a bit. And I arrived by the train. My grandparents picked me up. They became crazy when they saw that. Like, what the hell happened? And everything. I'm like, it's fine. I just took care of it. and it seemed crazy when you speak about it like this. But the thing is, as a kid, I've learned one thing, because I did martial art, I did dancing, I did not. Physical pain is nothing compared to how your mindset of it is.
Yeah.
And so I was always like, if there is a problem, there is a solution. What is my mindset about? And that came from me as a kid playing those card games with my grandparents, trying to win, trying to, think about how will I win? And if I lose, how will I next time? And how I handle the problem, how I handle the frustration, all of that. Because it's all about the mindset that you're creating at that time for the children. Like when I was a small kid, my mother didn't have a lot of money. We were struggling in some point. All of that. My father also left when I was around 3 years old. So all of that, it's compound. It creates you through adversity. Mm-hmm. And if you don't give difficulty to kids, they don't grow properly. If you don't get them challenge themselves, they don't grow properly. They don't have that mindset of finding solution to problem and going forward. And life, as you said, sometimes get tough. Like you go through a divorce. This is a tough process. Right. Whatever the outcome is, whatever you are the one initiating or not, this is a tough process. So if you don't give that freedom to your children to learn that pain before they have to experience bigger pain, you're doing them a disfavor.
This reminds me of what you were talking about at the beginning of our conversation, where you're talking about how when you were getting your podcast set up, you already had all these tools. You already worked in tech. You already had this and that. You knew how these things worked, so that it was way less painful for you to figure out some of these things, right? You started way up here. Same with our kids, right? It's like, we don't want them to start with no podcast equipment, no tech knowledge, right? No emotional intelligence and awareness. And it's like the more tools, the more hard experiences we give them, which also when we talk about divorce and people think I'm ruining my kids. I'm putting them through this. I can no longer protect them. No, take off that shame. Take off the shame. And remember, you are giving them resilience. You are letting them see that life is hard, and life's hard for you. And sometimes you don't know the answers. You are giving them the gift of them seeing you maybe in pain, maybe confused, maybe at a loss of what to do. So they are given permission to also do that themselves. They can say, it is a normal feeling to maybe not know what to do. It's a normal feeling to be sad. And I saw my mom go low, and I saw her get out of that, or whatever it is. I saw my parent go through that, and I can also do that. Or maybe it is hard going between homes, or having a parent that parents differently than the other one. And one parent thinks they're always the best, and the other parent thinks they're always the best, and you're going to judge each other. But no, what the gift to the kid is that they're learning to adapt in different environments, and they're learning how to find their anchor in a different home. Is it hard? Sure. Is it hard? Is it less than ideal? Maybe. But is it also less than ideal to be in a home where there's a lot of conflict? 100% yes. And so we're just giving our kids more tools in their emotional toolbox so they can start ahead of the game as they get older.
Yeah, there's a sentence that I love is, you have to allow your kids to do dangerous things in a safe environment.
Mm-hmm. Both my kids play football, so I know all about that. American football.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing martial arts starting 7 years old, so, I've been punched, kicked, and kicked. So, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, my son is in a cast, or actually just got it off. He'd broken finger, second game in. But what did he learn? His bone will heal. He doesn't get to play. He took a risk, and it, and that's the case. There's actually kind of an accident, and it happens, and you're going to be okay, and you'll be stronger for it.
So we have been discussing for quite some time. I'm looking at the time right now. I want to close on some really quick question that I have, and you will see those are really interesting ones. The first one is one thing that you wish more people knew about freedom.
I think it's kind of basic, but I wish more people knew that, like we've been talking about this whole hour, your mindset is your key to freedom, right? I wish more people knew how deeply they are in charge of their own freedom and that they can access it every day. It's not something that's out there, but it lives within you. And it's not going to happen someday when something happens, when you get the house or get the job or find the love or have the kid. Freedom is available to all of us every single day, and we have to choose it and carve it out.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Now, what is one thing you wish more people forget about freedom?
Forget that shame. Take off the shame. I think that when we layer shame on top of ourselves, we not only feel horrible, but we're not able to access the richness of the root of what's causing the shame, right? And so we can't ever actually deal with it. So when we just live our life in shame, it's like we're buffering ourselves from the thing that's maybe more painful, but actually, if you deal with, will liberate you.
Okay, and one last question. If you have to give one advice today for people to start building their personal freedom, what would be that one tool and one advice?
I just say be kind to yourself. Be gentle with yourself. You're lovely. You're perfect. You are doing good. And be kind to yourself.
I love that. Kindness. That's just so underrated.
I always tell my kids, kindness is a free tool that you have access to any day. It costs you nothing to be kind. Absolutely nothing.
True. Agreed with that. Well, Tracey, thank you for today. It was amazing having you. That discussion is golden. And I hope everyone will enjoy it as much as I did.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking with you, and thank you so much.